3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to the Nomad Sculpt cheat sheet. So first, I'm just going to get rid of this sphere, and I'm just going to walk you through a few things that I always do in my tutorials, and they're going to make it easier when you want to follow my tutorials, or any tutorials. So I'm going to delete this sphere and just add a box. So we're just going to add a box. So the first thing that I always use is the rounded edge brush. Shout out to Procreate FX. That's the first person that I was turned on to this brush, and I use it all the time. This tool, or this method, whatever you want to call it. So firstly, we're going to use the smooth tool. So take the smooth tool, tap it, hit clone, and then let's just name it, I'll just name it RE for round edge. And then it shows up down here. So once this is selected down here, you just go into this little pencil and you put lock radius. So once you have lock radius, you don't have to do anything here. Next we go to fall off. So when you go to fall off, just tap this and tap 1. So it's a straight line. Filter, this is all default. Pressure, uncheck use global settings. So we'll uncheck that. Preset, tap, straight, tap, straight. Okay, and then we're good to go. So we go down here, tap on it, save. So that's one. What that brush does, this helps with decimation. If you don't know anything about that, that's fine. You'll probably figure it out once you start really working with the application. Essentially, it'll help with bringing the poly count low, which is all these numbers. The lower they are, the better, but you kind of have to weigh it out because the higher they are, the more details. But there's balance. Anyway, so I'll turn on the wireframe because I know a lot of people kind of understand the wireframe. So we look at this box, it's fairly sharp. So we're using the round edge. So this is the middle of the box. I'm just going to drag out from the middle and see that roundness. See that kind of roundness that happens? I'll go in a little bit closer so you can see. So I'll just drag out from the middle, and I'm going to do it a couple times. I'll make it smaller so I can make sure I get the whole box. I'll do it a bunch of times, and you see that it's rounded. So a quick and dirty about voxel remeshing: it reorganizes all the geometry in whatever the shape is. So you don't really need to know all that. Just know that it recalculates all the geometry that's in this box. The geometry meaning all these little squares. So let's say we want to have this box be really soft, and we just can't get it with this. We want the edges to be really soft. Voxel remesh lower. Things will be softer. It will be more malleable. So just remember that. Voxel remesh here, voxel, the remeshing, see it's at 130. If we bring it down to, like, let's just say 30, that's really low. We remesh it. Now when we do rounded edge, we'll be able to get it even softer. And you can keep going, and it'll probably eventually, it'll just keep going and keep getting softer and softer. But let's turn off the wireframe. When you voxel remesh low, that's good if you want your sculpt to be really smooth. Because if you are trying to use, let's say, the crease, and you want to make a design, you can, like, barely, it's not very clean. So that's the balance. So we brought it down to like 30. Let's say we bring it up to, let's see, 440. Voxel remesh. Now we see this, it gets a little bit pixelated because it's going from so low to so high. So let's see if we can use round edge and get rid of a little bit of that pixelation. You might have to just use regular smooth. Sometimes you have to do that. But notice, even smoothing it out, notice how it's a lot of work to kind of get it smooth. That's because we remeshed high. And you see the box is 1.8 million. That's high. But if we use the crease, look at that. It's nice. So voxel remeshing low is for soft. If you bring a bunch of shapes together and you want them to look smooth and organic, you can voxel remesh low. If you want to get really high detail, you voxel remesh high. But remember, everything's a balance. So next up, let's say we want to color this 2 colors, but we want to smooth out. We like the shape, but we just want to smooth out the colors. So first I'm going to bring this down. It doesn't need to be 1.8 million. So, oh, you know what? I'm going to go to here, misc, and decimate. See the size? It brings down the size. That's half the size, half of that size. So I'll bring it down to 16.8. It's not too bad. It still looks the same. So we saved a lot of we went from high to low really quickly, and it still looks good. So let's say we want to paint this. I'm going to use let's see, what color do we want to paint this? Let's do a shiny yellow on the bottom. And you know what? I'm just going to do, so the bottom is going to be a shiny yellow. I'm just going to invert this, and then the top is going to be a soft matte purple. So we clear that mask. So now we have these 2 colors. But let's say we want to smooth them out. You can just take smooth, you can lower the intensity, and it will smooth it out. If you just smooth, it will smooth, but it'll also affect your shape. And you might not want to affect the shape. You want to just do the color. So you can do the same thing. You can clone this brush, call it Smoothie. I think I named mine Smoothie Poo, actually. So I cloned the smooth brush. Now I'm on this one. I put the intensity down to 0, tap here, and tap save. And then that's it. So also, the amount that it will smooth is contingent on how high it is. If it's up in 1,000,000, it's not going to get smooth. But if it's lower, it might get smooth. So let's see what we have. Ew, nice and smooth. Now, it's not perfect. I always wish that it could be just like super, super clean smooth, you know, but it's just like, you know, it's not there yet. So let's see if we can decimate it once more. If we can bring it down lower, then it might get smoother. I mean, it's pretty smooth, but you can still kind of see the striations. I don't think I've ever used that word in my life. But let's see. So we'll go to here, misc, miscellaneous. We'll decimate it again. Still looks pretty good. But let's see if we can smooth it out even more. I mean, I don't really know if I'm noticing any difference. So, but we tried. So that's pretty much how you smooth. We have our smooth color. We have rounded edge. Excuse me. We have smooth color and we have rounded edge. So, you know, sometimes you have to figure out, like, do you want to, if you have a character, you might have to do this early and then maybe voxel remesh higher. So you have this nice smooth. Maybe you want to voxel remesh it, you know, pretty high now. So then you have it high. Well, that's just a shortcut for voxel remeshing. So now it's high and you can like do all that other fun stuff. So you got to kind of balance everything out. Next, lighting. So I always do the same lighting setup. I'm going to show it to you really quick. That way, if I do tutorials, you can just do it on this like canvas, or you can save the Nomad project and then you can just open that and your lights are already done. So, okay, so let's hit front. Also, make sure that you're in orthographic. So, see this grid? We want it to be a flat line like this. So let's take our gizmo and just move this up right at the bottom. And you know what? Let's just make a little room. So we'll just do it really simple by adding 2 planes. So we'll add a plane. See, there it is. Gizmo. We'll just make the plane kind of big, like so. And now let's go ahead and we can validate it. And let's go ahead. Oh, actually, before you validate it, here's another quick thing you can do. See, the division is at 64. Let's just bring this down to like think we can bring it down to 1. Validate it. So let's go to this plane and let's clone it. Let's use our gizmo. We'll move it this way. And it doesn't need to be like, this doesn't need to be too precise. So I'm just going to bend it with the gizmo, move it about there, move it up. You can shrink it too. This little blue thing, you can kind of shrink it up. Okay, good. So that's all we need. So let's join these. That way if we want to stretch them out or whatever, we can just do that. Okay, so let's add some lights. So let's take our sphere, and it's always best to light on like a neutral subject. So I'm going to bring this to like a gray, maybe around here. Bring the roughness down a little bit. Paint. So this is what we'll light. And you know that this is the exact middle. And there's another thing you can do to make sure that you have it in the exact middle. I'm going to add a cylinder. Gizmo. Let's squash it. Make it bigger. Squash it again. Maybe a little smaller. So let's bring it down so it's like right above that line. Right there. And let's move this up. So now it has this nice little pedestal. Like that. So the first thing you want to do when you're lighting is turn off the environment. It should be black. And then you add your first light. Boom. That's our key light. So let's rename it key. I don't know why I chose to. Anyway, so we have a key light. Let's bring that up a little bit to maybe 1.7 or so. Okay, so that's good. We have a key light. Personally, I like soft shadows, so I'll tap here and go soft shadows. I always put soft shadows. Okay, so that's looking good. So this is like a sunlight. Doesn't matter where you put it, but I'm gonna put it here because wherever this arrow is, that's where the light hits. So I'm gonna put it there. Also, we can change it to perspective now, since we're doing lights apparently. Also, let's change the color of this too. So let's tap on this. Let's make this like make it like a little, just a different color, a little prettier. So we have our one light. Let's go back to our lights. Let's clone this. Let's rename it fill. Oops. And this will be our fill light. So then we'll just drag it over. And we'll do it this way. We'll point it the opposite way. And let's turn the intensity down. Doesn't matter where you place it. I'm just positioning it like where this points. So it just makes sense to me. So we'll turn the intensity down just so it makes this a little bit gray. Still a shadow, but we want it filled a little bit. Oh, also this, we never validated this. So let's tap on this and let's just put this to 2. And then we'll validate, and then it's like a nice round like thing. Let's match the color of the background. So we'll just tap here, maybe a little bit of metalness, make it a little interesting. Boom, nice. Okay, so we have 2 lights. So let's clone this light. Let's rename it rim. This will be the rim light. Rim light makes a nice, see how it's like kind of light, then it's dark, and then we're going to make it a light sliver. So we want to make it a spotlight. So let's reposition it so that it's pointing sort of in the back of it. So I'm going to move it up. Whoop, didn't mean to hit that. Over. And now we have to twist it so that it is hitting it on the back side, which can be a little bit tricky. So maybe something like this. Okay, so now we have this light behind. Let's look at it from the front-ish view. So here's the front. Okay, so let's go ahead and lock in this view. So we'll tap here, add view, and then let's just rename it 1. So that way, no matter what you do, you can always just tap here and go back to your view. So this is good. We have our rim light. It looks good. So we have a light here. We have a little fill light here, and we have the rim light. You can move this around as you like if you want less, if you want some on the top. So there you go. You can use this little orange node to make it brighter, all that stuff. Maybe you want to put it down low and then angle it up so it doesn't hit the ground. You can do anything that you want. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. So now we have one more light. So usually let's add a light. Let's rename this TD for top down. I used to put it right exactly on the top. Let's change it to spot. I usually put it right exactly on top, but I don't always do that now. I used to put it like here. I would always make it blue as well. A little bluish. Lower the intensity. And yeah, I mean, I think it looks good. So let's go back to our view. So then we have this here, and we can turn on post-process. Looks good. You can turn these up. You can adjust these, and then once you adjust them, you can click here and then hit clone, and it will save your settings. So like I have my 2 here that I use all the time, and look good. So the last thing, we can turn on the environment. Let's turn it down. So the environment is what's responsible for, like, you know how you can see different patterns and stuff in the lights? That's from the environment. So you can change environments. This is my own custom one. This is my custom one. It's on my website, drogcreative.com. Just scroll down to the bottom. But you have all these that you can choose from, and it changes everything. But also, see how I have this design? If I changed this to a, let's say a dark, turn the roughness down, that's when you really see it. So let's hit select. That's when you really see like the lights. So if you go to the environment and you rotate it, you can see the lights change. So if I raise the exposure, then I rotate it, all those lights change. So that all affects, you know, your sculpt. But I think those are the most important things. And these are useful anytime you do a tutorial of mine. These 2 tools I'm going to use, and I'm always going to do a lighting setup like this as well. So let's turn the environment down. So for example, let's say I delete this box, and you save a character, or you bring in a character, or even if you just want to use this again, just save it. So we'll say, you know what, let's rename it to lit BG. So lit BG, we'll save. So now you have a lit BG. So when you're doing another project, you can turn the lights off. Let's turn the lights off. Turn the environment up. Turn post-process off. So here's how you want to save it. So let's save it again. So now when you're doing another project and you want to bring it in, you can just, like, you know, add your sphere or whatever. You can do your modeling. Even if you want, you can hide these things. You can just hide all of these. And then you can just model like there's nothing there. Let's say we wanted to do, like, you know, you do a little character or something. Let's add something else to it. Okay, so here we go. We do a little character. Let's clone this. Let's turn this one. Okay, let's take all of these and voxel remesh them together. And let's say we want to use round edge and smooth everything out. So we made a 3D sculpt. So now we can just bring back our cylinder and our plane. Maybe we want to move this up a little bit. Oop, that pesky gizmo. So now you can just put it here. You can turn your lights on, turn your exposure down. You can change whatever color or whatever, you know, color you want to make this. That actually looks pretty cool. So you can change the color, put post-process on, and then you're done. Like you're already lit. So this is good. I'm actually going to refer people to this because I constantly have to do it in all my tutorials, and people always kind of like how do you make these tools and everything. So I might just refer people to this. I think that would be a lot easier. But this is also great. And don't forget that, like, let's say this is your character, you can always export it. Like, you can go to export as like Nomad, and let's just say you want just one thing. You would just select, you know, only include the selected objects, and then you can export it, and then just save it to your, you can save it. You can do that with characters. You can do that with things with multiple, you know, if it was 5 pieces, it would just say only include selected 5 objects. And then you could just save it. So for example, if I delete this and I wanted to bring in, let's see, add, just go here, add to scene, import new file, and then I go to my assets, and let's go to, I have a character folder somewhere. Where are my folders? Annoying. Kind. Characters. So let's do Venom only. Why not? So we'll do Venom only. Let's shrink him because he's quite big. Let's go back to our view. So we'll put him here. Let's shrink him again. Whoops, that pesky gizmo. Oh, he's too small. We'll just bring him up to the floor-ish. There you go. And like now he's like lit and in a space. So you don't, and he's, you see like the edge is lit well. He's lit pretty well. So that just makes it easier once you have all the lights and stuff set up, and you can bring in your characters. And I would suggest exporting anything that you make, export it alone as a Nomad file and just save it somewhere. Save it on your iPod, export it. That way you always have them. So like when I'm making characters like this and I'm like, oh, like what if I want to add something else to the scene, you know, something silly, then I can just do that. I can just go to my assets. Just a little Baymax. Let's go to review. So you can just bring stuff in. I think they actually look quite cute together. Make it a little darker. Make this darker too. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that all makes sense. This is these are some of the things that I do all the time to just make things go more quickly. You know, I'm doing a lot of tutorials, so sometimes I have to explain all of this stuff, but I wanted a place where I can refer people. So let me know what you think. Leave me a comment, please. Like, I really appreciate it. It would help me, help the video, so give me a like and drop me a comment if you wish. All right, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video. Get rid of all this stuff.
Do you want to learn how to make amazing 3D art, but all you have is an iPad or an Android tablet? Today's the day. What's up guys, welcome. My name is Dave Reed, aka Drug Free Dave. I've been drawing for over 30 years. I graduated from SVA, School of Visual Arts in New York City, and now I'm obsessed and I love creating 3D art. I've also been obsessed with showing everyone that they can do 3D art too. So this class is all about Batman. We're going to create a really cool Batman sculpt, and it's also going to be really great to print if any of you guys are interested in printing as well. Some of the things we'll cover in this class are setting up our scene so we can get to sculpting, blocking out our sculpts, using various sculpting tools, and different approaches to sculpting and different formulas to be able to get the sculpt and get the results that we want. So what you'll learn in this class is how to take a 2D image, an idea, a character, a comic book character, and break it down into simple steps. Just break it down into simple shapes, put them all together, use the tools. So you'll be able to do this with any comic book character. Think of everything as simple shapes and just build everything block by block. That's how I teach. That's how the class is going to go. And that's how you'll get amazing results. So I'm going to be using an iPad Pro 2022, but I started with Nomad with a 2015 iPad Pro. So there's some flexibility. You don't have to have the most expensive tablet to be able to do 3D. And the best part about it is you can create these anywhere. You can create these on a plane, on a train, you can take it with you on vacation, and you can create amazing 3D art anywhere. All right, I think I covered everything. That's enough talking for now. Let's go ahead and get started on our amazing 3D Batman model in Nomad Sculpt.